Hey everyone, Charles here. And first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy? Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How did they get the courage to jump into greatness? Doing what they love and living the good life. So, get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Yes. It's another episode of Jump. Hey, Jump podcast fans, how you doing? It's been a while. I know you've been wondering what's been going on, and I've been just getting some super fantastic guests on my show. You know, it's kind of hard doing what you got to do, but if you go out there and get great connections, then makes life easier. And the reason I say get great connections is like I found this next gentleman on LinkedIn, and he's teaching me how relationships and how you got to use what you have. So Scott, are you there, my friend?
I am here, Charles. Thank you so much again for reconnecting and having me a part of your podcast.
No, man, it was easy. And you know what I liked about you is, we reached out first, we talked, we got to know each other a little bit more. And you're like, sure, when you're ready, I'm good to go. Let's keep the introductions good. And when you're ready. And then I just reached out, and you're more than welcome to say, yeah, I'm ready to do this. I like your show. So I appreciate you jumping on. Absolutely.
This is the year of yes. And obviously when I'm in alignment and I connect with someone that's also in alignment with what I'm doing and the mission that I'm on, it's an easy thing. It's just an instantaneous yes. And I'm just glad to be a part of this.
All right. So tell me a little bit more about yourself before we get into this.
So about me, my name is Scott Aaron. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've been an entrepreneur basically my entire life. I spent the first 18 years of my business career in the health and wellness industry as a gym owner of 3 gyms, certified personal trainer and sports nutritionist, and then started doing some network marketing about 6 years ago. Very successful in that, and that led me to doing some more business coaching and consulting, some speaking, author of 2 books. And my main vision, passion, and purpose is literally showing people how to live their best life possible by doing the things daily that they really enjoy doing without looking around and comparing and feeling in competition with others, but living in a world of creation and purpose. So that's a little bit about what I do now. And obviously the backstory of how I got into the wellness industry, I always share this, that I'm an entrepreneur by accident. I am a 4th generation entrepreneur. My great grandfather fled from Eastern Europe and obviously came to the United States, became a butcher in South Philadelphia. My grandfather followed suit and became a pharmacist and had his own pharmacy. And my father had multiple businesses as an entrepreneur, and now I am as well. But obviously through struggle, you obviously learn how to succeed. And I actually got into the health and wellness industry as a professional and entrepreneur when my father actually made some bad business decisions and landed in federal prison for 2.5 years when I was 18 going on 19. So I had to grow up really fast, take over the family business until he came back home, support my mother and my sister, but at the same time fell in love with entrepreneurship, fell in love with health and wellness. But more importantly, I fell in love with helping other people live their best life.
So hold on, let's go back there, because you said something, and I know my listeners were like, when you said federal prison, they all went, whoop. What did he just say? I was like, wait a minute, what did he just say?
Snuck that in there.
Yeah, you just drop that and go. So what happened? How does it work out? Because a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we're like, you want to try this, you want to go for that, you want to do this. How does that happen out?
So, long story short, my father had owned multiple businesses successfully and wanted to get into the health and wellness industry, which was one of his passions, and ventured into physical rehabilitation, partnering with an existing company. And what he did not know, the owner of that company had a criminal past, and there was some insurance issues when my father got involved, and the federal government caught on. And he did cooperate, but when all was said and done, because it was close to a 8-figure number as far as the total fraudulent case that was out there, my father did having to serve 2.5 to 3 years in federal prison between that and a halfway house. And I always share this because part of my childhood, part of my young adulthood was taken from me. I didn't have an option. I didn't have a choice. My father saw things that weren't going well with this company. It was too late at that point, but he wanted to set my family up with something. And obviously health and wellness was his passion. My 2 grandfathers assisted my father in purchasing a health club, which they then sold to me for $1 when my father did go away to prison. And at 18 and a half, almost 19, I was running my family's first health club, not knowing anything about health and wellness, not knowing anything about running a business. But I always express to people that we're always dealt with hands. And there's this saying in poker, you can either hold them or fold them. And what I can tell you, Charles, is that I've never folded a hand yet. I've always made the best of that hand, no matter what. So when someone asks me, how can you describe your journey in entrepreneurship? Or how can you describe your journey of success then failure? Because, I had made millions, lost millions, and then rebounded and up and down and, been through a couple divorces. I've had to file for bankruptcy. There's so many things that happened along my journey in entrepreneurship and life. But if there's one word, Charles, that can describe that life and what I've been doing and the path that I've been on, is resiliency. I've always found a way to be resilient no matter what's been thrown at me, to consistently move forward. Because again, there's millions of ways of how to succeed, and there's only one way to fail, and that's to quit. And as long as I know there's only one way to fail, and I know there's millions of ways to succeed, then I can always play with the hand that I'm dealt with.
Well, you really didn't have a choice. So you're saying at a young age, you had to dive in and go and do what you have to do. How did you balance trying to be a young man and be the man of the time?
It was a difficult thing to do because, again, I was a teenager. So, I still did have a social life that I wanted to maintain, but I did have to find that balance of showing up at my business and, professionally. But again, you have to understand, I'm walking into a gym at 19 years old with a general manager now, with managers, with floor managers, with group fitness instructors, personal, and I'm managing all of them. And I had a tough time managing myself. And now I was responsible for these people. But again, when you are thrown into the ring, and when there is no other option, there is no other choice, there is no maybe, and it's a definitive yes, this is what you have to do.
Right.
You have to figure it out. And that's what I did. So there's when there is no wavering, when there is no indecisiveness, when there is no questioning, when it's just like, okay, you have to do this and you have to figure it out, you will.
So it's give or take, right? You put it in, you take it out, and you do what you got to do.
Exactly. And again, are there going to be scrapes and bumps and bruises and broken bones along the way? Absolutely. That's called life. Every day is not going to be sunshine and rainbows.
So here's the thing, though, because the reason I tell everybody I called it jump for a reason, because we are hesitant. We get to the base of of the swimming pool, we get to the base of the cliff. And we know that, we dive in, it's a beautiful, nice pool. It's going to feel good. You dive off the cliff, you're going to soar for a while, but we're all hesitant for that failure part. How comes you kept diving in? You weren't like, that failure part never came into your mind?
Well, I think everyone does have that innate feeling of failure. But what I live by is that your failures open the doors to your successes. So without learning to fail, you can't learn how to succeed, because it's all about trying something. If it doesn't work, retooling and trying something else, and then trying something else, and then trying something else. Eventually, you're going to figure it out. Think about when you and I were babies and we were learning to walk. The first step when you're a baby is rolling over, going from your belly to your stomach and then, to your back and then over and over again. And then the next part is crawling. And then after that is pulling yourself up and kind of cruising around. And then it's about taking those first steps. But I use the analogy that sometimes Tony Robbins uses, and he'll ask people, how many times did you give your child the opportunity to walk before you told them, stop, you're never going to do it?
Never. You're not going to tell your child that.
Exactly. You're going to say, get back up, keep going, keep trying,
Right.
keep figuring out. So you get up, you fall, you get back up. You fall, you get back up, you fall, and you're literally just learning how to fail until you learn how to succeed. Same thing with riding a bike. How do you start? Training wheels, right?
Yep.
And then eventually you get comfortable enough, the training wheels go off, and then what's next? Your parent is holding your seat, kind of guiding you down the street. And what's the final phase is they let go and you start pedaling. But are you going to fall off your bike? Absolutely. But do you just throw it to the wayside? No. You get back up and you practice and you try, you fail, you succeed, you fail, you succeed. That's the same principle that can be applied to anything in your life.
So here's the thing. I'm a big mental guy. Like, I figured if you put yourself in a mental aspect, then there's amazing things you can do. So let me ask you this. When you were going through all your problems, right? When you're doing all your struggles and stuff, and you woke up in the morning and Scott looked at himself in the mirror, what did Scott say to himself?
It's interesting that you asked that, because there was a long time where I actually didn't look in the mirror. And it wasn't until I started doing some deep personal development about 6 years ago that I realized that the only person that will either create the success that I deserve or be the reason why I'm not achieving the success that I deserve is the same person that looks back at me in the mirror every single day. So when I realized that each person as an individual is either going to be the catalyst for your success or the catalyst for your failure, I needed to turn that mirror around and I needed to own my stuff. I needed to stop pointing the finger at other people, playing the blame game. And I said, you know what? No one's going to do this for me. So if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to truly succeed the way that I want to, then I'm going to do this myself. And people can either come on board or they can move out of the way. But no matter what, I'm going to continue moving forward.
I see. And then it's just a breakthrough one day. Like, for me, I like to hype up myself. I like to say, today's your day. I wake up and I said, today's your day. It's me. Today's your day. What are you telling yourself?
Well, I mean, something that I always do gratitude in the morning with my fiance, and actually before we go to bed, because, something that Jay Shetty talks about all the time is that it is emotionally and physiologically impossible when you are practicing gratitude to feel anything else. You can't feel sad. You can't feel hatred. You can't feel stress. When you are practicing gratitude, when you are feeling grateful, it literally blocks out any other feeling. So when you physiologically start practicing gratitude the minute you wake up, and you practice that art of gratitude before you go to bed, the simplest thing that you're grateful for, the clothes on my back, the roof over my head, the food in my belly, that simple act of gratitude in the morning and before bed starts to slowly physiologically change your mindset. Because if you're living in the feeling and the art of gratitude every single day, you're happier, you are more prosperous, you are more forward thinking. And if you do have a challenging moment, you are able to overcome that much quicker. Whereas before, maybe you dwelled on that thought or that feeling for the whole day or maybe the whole week. Now you take a couple deep breaths, you realize that, you know what, this is a choice. I can either choose to feel this way and literally put all my time and energy into something that is not serving me, or I can step back into my gratitude, push this to the side so I can continue moving forward. So it's literally just practice makes practice in anything that you want to achieve.
You know something? One thing I like about what you said in the beginning of that whole thing is that you do it together with your fiance. So it's not just a me thing, because it's not just you by yourself in your life. It's a we thing. And I love that you said you guys do it together. It's a two-parter. You grow together, you do things together.
I mean, the simple saying is you grow together, you grow apart. And, I'm very blessed and very, very fortunate and grateful that I found a life partner in her, because we're on the same wavelength. We do morning walks to get coffee, and we talk about things and, go over stuff for the day and what we're grateful for and what we're looking to achieve. And that's what life is all about. There's so many people that spend every day in a mentality of lack, or in sadness or disbelief or whatever it is. Because, Charles, what I realized is that we are here 1 minute and we are gone the next. And
Yes.
something that we listened to today, it was some questions that you need to ask yourself. And the one question was, how will people remember you at your funeral? What would they say about you? And I don't want to get mortal with people, because I mean, none of us are immortal. Like, we are all mortal. We are all going to die. Like, that's plain and simple. But how do you show up every day? How do you leave people better? What are they going to say when you are gone from this earth plane? What kind of legacy and impact are you going to leave on those around you?
Okay, so hold on, because all my Jump fans are like, "Wait, he did the question before he did the answer." So I usually ask all my guests, when you leave the earth, what you want your legacy to be.
Oh,
and
wow.
Since you rolled into this, go for it, because I like how you just segued right into that. So go for it. So when you leave the earth, what is your legacy?
So the legacy that I strive to leave behind each and every day for my son, for my fiance, for my family, is that everything in life is possible. For whatever you want to achieve, whether it's owning your own business, whether it's starting your own company, whether it's working for someone else and hitting the highest rank, whether it's having the most abundance in the world, having homes all over, having the car of your dreams, the house of your dreams, whatever fills you, I want to leave the legacy behind to let people know that everything in life is possible if you believe in yourself, you believe in your path, and you believe in what you're striving to achieve each and every day, without getting distracted by what other people may be saying about you, talking about you, or giving you any negativity, because other people's thoughts and opinions do not have to become who you are.
All right. Now listen, we're going to jump into now relationships. And that's why it was a key thing. Like you talking about it, you had to build relationships to get to the point that you are right now. All right. And then I see you on LinkedIn. I see you on other social media platforms. You got a great base of people and network. So what I want you to do is help me and explain to me how your relationships and network really help you get you to the next level. And before I get to that, we're going to pay some bills and we'll be right back. Hold on, my friend.
Call Andre, the mortgage broker you need on your side in order to get the results you want. Call Andre, the mortgage broker you could trust when your back's against the wall and you don't know where to go to get the right answers. Call Andre for clarity. For expert advice and options to explore, call Andre. He'll get you on track with the right roadmap to success. When the bank says no way, better call Andre. Andre is part of CA Mortgage Group, where the CA actually stands for CARE, as in we care about you at CA Mortgage Group. 647-991-7325. 647-991-7325. CA Mortgage Group, where we care about you. Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
Yes, we're back and we have my good friend Scott here. And before we went to break, I asked him about his relationships because that's how we got connected. It's all about relationship. So tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you can help people build their relationships, because relationships is key.
Relationships are everything. And in a saturated digital and social media world that we live in now, this goes back to the 65,000 hours of one-on-one in-face personal training experience that I've had in my career that really helped shape and have me understand what I'm really skilled at doing. And that's creating relationship and rapport with people, because I think right now, and I feel right now, that it's become so easy to disconnect. It's become so easy to ghost and ignore people, that the art of relationship building, the art of communication and connection is going to the wayside. And when you build any business, whether it's an online business, it's a network marketing business, any business that requires other people for growth, people buying into you, people investing in what you have to be good at connecting. You have to be doing more asking and listening and less telling and selling. And I really feel that there's too many people telling and selling instead of asking questions and listening to what people have to say, because people will always tell you, obviously, what they're feeling, what they want to know, and how you can assist them. So I truly feel that if you want to build the right kind of network, you want to build the right kind of following, you want to do three things. Number one, you must be authentic in everything that you do. The way that you show up one way is the way that you want to show up every way. Number two is you want to be genuine. You want to show genuine care and concern for all those around you. It's not about you. It's about you loving yourself so you can love on all those around you at the same time. And number three, it's being transparent. Transparency and vulnerability is probably the most essential key in drawing people into you, because there's probably a lot of people listening to this right now that would have never expected me to share the story of how my father went to prison, how I had to file for bankruptcy, I've been divorced twice, I've made millions, I've lost millions, all of that stuff. But because I'm so transparent and vulnerable, it brings me down to everyone's eye level, where they now understand that, okay, he's just like me, and this is what he did to overcome it, so can I. So really allowing yourself to be vulnerable and transparent, but also being genuine and authentic in what you do, what you say, and how you show up is the exact formula and key to creating lasting connections and relationships with people in person or on social media.
But the thing is, I think a lot of people have that fear factor of, they see somebody, they go through their profile and they go, oh, this is a really interesting person. I think they can help me out. How do I approach it? Like, a lot of them are using just like, a quick, the buttons, they're there. Just, hey, how you doing? Hi. They don't put themselves out and say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I found you interesting because this. Why do we hesitate of really going out there and introducing ourselves?
Well, I think it's a fear of judgment, or also a fear of, why would this person want to talk to me? And again, Mel Robbins actually says this best. And Mel Robbins, if people are not familiar with her, she did an amazing TED Talk a number of years ago, but she has the New York Times best-selling book, The 5-Second Rule. And in the book, she talks about, if we had these external microphones on our heads where it would basically pour out or allow people to hear all the negative thoughts in our head so people could hear that, people would literally turn and run in the opposite direction. So most people end up getting an analysis paralysis, or they create stories of, they're not good enough, or why would this person want to talk to me? What value do I have to offer? When you start actually listening to what's going on in your head and you don't listen, and this is something that people do, they think too much and they feel too little. When you feel more and you think less, you literally break that pattern of less than, or not worthy enough, or not good enough, because each one of us is an individual person. We're all human beings doing the same thing every single day. When you cut out the fear of reaching out, you have to ask to get. You have to ask in order to get. So if you're not willing to ask, you are not willing to get. And it's that simple.
Yeah. And it's funny because I always tell all my podcasts, I always tell them, think of your example. When you walk into a convenience store, you want to buy a scratch ticket. You're standing behind the person. You look over the counter and you see the one you want to get. But when you get up to the counter and it's your turn to ask for the scratch ticket, why do you change your mind? Why do you not pick the one you originally wanted? You look at the one to the right, you will look to the other one, and now you're hesitating. But originally, you already knew before you went up to the counter which one you were going to get. Why do we change our own minds?
I think it's again, we all get in our own heads. We're all creating stories of what if, and there's three types of people in this world. There's people that live in anxiety, there's people that live in fear, and there's people that live in peace. And this is from the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, another great book. And the people that live in anxiety are the ones that are living in their past stories. You know, they're living in some moment in time and they just can't get out of it, and literally life stops at that moment. Then you have the people that live in fear. Just like the person that's standing at the counter, they're looking at that ticket, but they're fearful. They create a story. They're predicting something before it even happens. But then there's that person that lives in peace. And the person that's living in peace is living in the only time that we have that we can actually control. And that is the now, the present time. So when you shut off the anxiety, when you shut off the fear, and you become one with you and your body, and you start living right now in the moment, you start actually living. You start seeing things differently, things smell differently, things look differently because your eyes are finally open. Most people are turning the lenses off of what's actually in front of them because they're looking too far ahead, or they're looking too far behind, and they're not within themselves. So when you cut out the anxiety, you cut out the fear, you live for right now, you start living and making decisions based on the present moment instead of stories of the past or the future.
Okay, so tell my Jump fans, how do you go about building your relationships with people?
So I always strive to give as much as I can without expecting anything back in return. So if anyone follows me on any social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, I am always putting out content to make you think, to make you feel, and to make you react. Not so much to me, but within yourself. I can't tell you how many people send me messages and they'll say, needed to hear this today. Thank you so much for putting this out there, because again, I'm not alone in how I feel. But the more that you put yourself out there and let yourself, again, be vulnerable, be genuine, and be authentic, then you start connecting with people on the best level possible that cannot be automated and it can't be dripped on in a funnel. And that's human connection. When you can humanize yourself and you can look eye to eye through social media with someone, with your words, with your videos, with your posts, with your articles, that's when you start really creating real, lasting relationships with you and your followers, or the connections that you have.
Okay, so here's a question for you. We were joking around the other day. Do you answer all your social media?
Yes.
Every single one?
Well, I'll say this. If it serves me, and it's a positive something. So give you an example. I wrote an article the other day on LinkedIn that got really good engagement. People were really taking a lot away from it. It had to do with hard work. And
okay.
it was basically, hard work will always trump people, with talent, and people think that you have to have a lot of talent and you don't have to work hard, but you have to work hard even if you do have the talent. And someone responded back, well, if you're that talented, you shouldn't have to work hard. And it was something negative like that. So that is something that I will not respond to. But if it's something in alignment with how I feel, and if someone reaches out to me and it's a positive something that's adding value to me and maybe their thought or idea, I will definitely respond to it. But in the same token, Charles, if someone writes to me and is completely cutting me down, chopping me down, because I was bullied and picked on a lot of my life as well, if it's going to take me down that rabbit hole of not feeling good about myself, I literally just delete it, don't respond to it, and I move on. Because again, what people need to realize, and this is what I want your listeners to understand, there are two types of people in the world. 50% of the people are going to love you and what you're doing, and there's 50% of the people that are going to hate you and what you're doing.
Right, and that's sorry to cut you, but I want you to say that part again, because this is the part where people say, "Oh, I put myself out there and it doesn't work, and I got pure negative comments and blah blah blah." But I'm trying to explain to people, haters will always be haters, and the good people that you surround yourself will push you to get to the next level.
Well, you can you choose what you focus on. What you focus on is what you become. So if you want to focus on all the haters, then basically you're going to feel like crap every single day because all you're thinking about is all the people that hate what you're doing. But again, 50% of the people in your life will love you and what you're doing, and 50% of the people will hate you and what you're doing. But you have the innate ability and choice to focus on what types of people that you want to engage with. I choose to focus on the people that love me, and I love on them. They love on me. Now, that's not to say I love my haters too, because Grant Cardone talks about, there's going to be people that love what you do and they're going to hate what you do. But as long as your name is coming out of someone's mouth, you are making an impact. Because something my first business coach, Jeffrey Combs, taught me. He said, he was sharing this story about how he was in an airport and this gentleman came up to him and he goes, "I listen to your podcast." He goes, "I really don't like you." And Jeffrey turned back to him and didn't, get in the ring with him. He said, "What is about me that you don't like about yourself?"
Okay.
Yeah. And this guy, like literally his jaw dropped like a complete donut hole. This guy didn't know what to say because it's the truth. Most times when people are jealous of you or they hate you for no reason without even knowing you, it's because there's something about your life or something about who you are that they wish they had, which they could if they just believed in themselves and stopped comparing themselves to you.
Right. And then here's the funny thing. The first part that I took out of that story, and a lot of people don't listen. Like when someone comes to you and says, "Oh, I really don't like you because I listened to your podcast and I don't like you because blah, blah, blah." They didn't hear the first couple of words that came out of someone's mouth.
Yeah.
If they listen carefully, he says, "I listen to your podcast." Yeah. So if you don't like me, why are you listening to my podcast? Exactly. If you don't like me, every week when I put out my show, you come back and listen again. If you don't like me, why do you constantly sit there and listen to my half an hour show?
Exactly. And that's the thing. People need to understand that the one thing, Charles, that I love about life is that you control how you feel, what you focus on, how you react, how you don't react, how you respond, how you don't respond. Every day's a gift, and you bring whatever you want to it. And I think one of the most challenging things for people is the people that we want to love us, respect us, and honor us the most, which are our friends and family. Sometimes they don't. Those are the people that are going to give you the greatest amount of pushback. But here's the thing. That's okay, because you can't choose your family, but you can choose who you want to spend your time with. If you have that toxic family where there's always a tug of war and you're always getting criticism, that's okay. Meet them where they are, love, honor, and appreciate who they are and what they stand for, but their thoughts and feelings and opinions about you do not have to become your reality. You always need to go back to that.
Right. And I love how you're saying that, because most people don't know how to let go, take in, and restart again. And sometimes that's what you got to do. You see the toxic people in your life, you just have to let them go, restart, and it's beneficial for you at the end. 100%. So here's the question. If somebody needs your help, tell them how they can get in touch with you.
So if someone requires my help, you can find me on all social media, Facebook and Instagram, and LinkedIn. Facebook and LinkedIn, I'm under Scott Aaron, SCOTTAARON. On LinkedIn, I am on Instagram, I am at Scott Aaron LinkedIn. Or you can go to my general website, which is www.scottaaron.net. I have free downloads. I have free 15-minute coaching calls. So if someone is listening to this and you're really ready to make that jump or that radical leap in your life, in your business, then I would love to speak to you.
All right. And we're going to put all those links into the podcast, of course. But before I go and before I let you go, because I know you're very busy, what's next for you?
What's next for me is I am starting my own growth agency on LinkedIn, but also affiliate program. But more so from that, I am really focusing on doing a lot more public speaking, spreading the good word of not only what I'm passionate about, but my best-selling book on Amazon, which is called the LinkedIn Book for Network Marketing, to really assist individuals and businesses to truly succeed every which way they want and deserve to.
Right. And then, we could have dove more into the LinkedIn thing, but I think it's more precedent that people need to know before they get into all that, finding people and linking up with them, you got to have your mind and body right first.
100%.
It doesn't make sense linking up and taking all your tools of teaching them how to, gain more people and more followers on these social medias if they're not ready themselves to gain all these people. Because when you gain these people, there's a certain stigma and pressure on yourself to say, hey, I have followers, so I have to live up to a certain expectation, or how can I lead if I can't lead myself?
Exactly. You have to lead you before you're able to lead anybody else.
And I love it. So, okay, so hold on now. Off topic, basketball fan?
100%.
Who are we going for?
Well, I live in Philadelphia, so I'm a Sixers fan. So I'm trusting the process. So we've made some leaps and bounds. So I'm going with my Sixers.
All right, and I think the reason I ask is I think my Raptors and your Sixers might be going a little head to head. So
hey, listen, I'm a Kawhi fan. I'm a Kyle Lowry fan. I love competition. It's very healthy. But we will see what happens come playoff time. So we only got about one game left in the regular season. So I'm looking forward, and the Sixers are up for the challenge. So I'm trusting the process, and I'm riding my guys.
All right, Jump Podcast. I already did that so I can bring him back on to another show. So if whatever happens, we're going to start with that conversation and we do a part 2 because I got to have him back on my show. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, Charles. Grateful for you, and thank you for allowing me to come on today.
Jump Podcast fans, that's how it is. It's about relationships, but like we talked about, it's you yourself and how you approach somebody. And, it's all about what you got to do. We love you, and we always thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. If you liked the show or have a comment, we would love to hear from you. Join our mailing list, and as always, check out our special deals links below. I hope this has inspired you to look at your life and jump. See you next week.
At Capella University, education is as smart as the world around us. With the FlexPath format, you can take classes at your own pace, set your own deadlines, and even leverage your previous experience to move faster. Now that's smart. Learn more at capella.edu.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.